pertaining to David and Celeste Rivas Hernandez. Let's start with LAPD saying that at the moment it's not a homicide. They don't have proof that she was unalive. Toxicology reports are pending, but they can say that they know that she was put into a trunk. Well, what is the point in telling us that? She was put into a trunk. We know she was put into a trunk. You also said she was dismembered. Then another report says that that's not true. So you don't really know what to believe. Is it an issue that she's the body deteriorated so quickly that bones turned into dust? Because that's the only way you can't tell if she was dismembered, if she'd been in there a long time. Naturally, in heat, that's going to up the factors of a body dissolving quicker. Ex-boyfriend has spoken, a guy that she dated when she was about 13 or so, basically saying that she joked about wanting to run away from home. A day or so later, he hadn't heard from her, hadn't seen. Sent to Josh Marshall, but Josh denies getting the email, but then out of the blue, going to go out and put his name on the fact that he saw an email. Naturally, you know, an email has a date and time when it was sent. So I can't see that being fabricated, an email, because it has a date put, attached to it. So a lot of information is coming out from TMZ, people, I guess, who have talked to TMZ, police. As you see, I did a short about that. TMZ doing a lot of reporting, talking to the police. And I was just like, well, when is somebody going to talk publicly, give a brief statement pertaining to what you found, what you've learned? I'm assuming they're dotting all their I's, crossing all their T's pertaining to Celeste and David, and anyone that has dealt with them personally was not great. What does that mean? What was going on in her home? So see, I asked all those questions the past couple of weeks. Why was she running away? Was she running away because she was lured, coerced by David? Or is it something was going on in her home and he just came along and she felt the need to go rush to this guy, maybe hoping he'd be her savior? But then here comes this video, September 2024. She's outside arguing with neighbors about some type of prank. Don't know what that's all about, but that shows she did make it home at a year and a half. Well, this video shows that she made it home. Now, how long did she stay after this video was filmed, or, this CCTV footage from a neighbor's cameras? I don't know. So that would be helpful that somebody can get good information, the CCTV footage, because you're now talking about a year ago. Someone has actual footage. So I'm now questioning anyone's CCTV footage camera where David lived, where the houses on the street, where the car was parked, houses on the street where he lived. How far back do their cameras go? Because all that's going to be relevant in this investigation pertaining to Celeste Rivas. So we've got emails being denied by Mr. Josh Marshall, him denying having a lot of contact with David. Sounds like a bunch of bullshit to me. As someone has said, and many people are saying it, why are you commenting on someone's TikTok content? Hello, Sammy. Why are you commenting on someone's TikTok content? You're just strolling through TikTok, social media, and you see something being said about you, and you stupidly respond. Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you. You stupidly respond. Only a fool would respond knowing they haven't responded publicly to say, hi, I'm Josh Marshall. I'm one of the managers working with David. I have no knowledge of Celeste Rivas Hernandez. I don't know about his relationships with any females, children, underage, nobody. I don't live at that said house. I've never lived at that said house, or I stayed at that said house for a day, 2, 5 days. Yes, I rented that said house to give him a place to live, but other than that, I did not live there. That's what a decent human would do, is come. Don't say nothing. Okay, but that don't make no sense. What attorney would tell you Hey, don't speak on and what you don't know. That sounds like somebody who's agitated at what people are saying about them on social media. And this is why when you're in this type of predicament of being connected to somebody, or hell, might even have some knowledge, some dirty hands in the pot, it's why you keep your fucking mouth closed altogether. You don't say nothing. You don't go to TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Reddit, X, Newsbreak. You don't go nowhere. You don't go on social media and say, you know, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. He took off, ran to Florida, which some people would think that's a sign of guilt. Ran off to Florida. And then when they finally had their arrest warrant, the police, they tracked him to Florida where he was living in a home. Marshals, whomever show up with the warrant, the arm, and what did he do? He unalived himself right there in the house. Did you hear what I said? He unalived himself right there in the house while they're banging on the door, making their way in with the warrant because he was guilty. Now, someone will say, well, just because a person leaves town does not mean they're guilty with an open investigation to someone related to them. Yes, but people will think it's a bad look. And I get it. Can't handle the pressure, tired of TV cameras and people coming around, filming the home, the apartment, knocking on the door. I get all that. But a lot of times when people, as I said, run to social media, they move, they leave a house, they leave an apartment, condo, sometimes they are, but that slick ass comment that LAPD gave that we can't prove it's a homicide, but we do know she was put in the trunk. You could have saved that. We already know she was put in the trunk. That statement is stupid. And really, it's ignorant and disrespectful to the dead. Oh, hey, I can't prove you died about murder by the hands of a human, but I know you got in the trunk. Yeah, we all know she got in the trunk. And we all know she didn't wrap herself in plastic or a container and climb herself into the trunk. She'd have to be one hell of a magician. I said that. So we've got LAPD speaking. That was probably about a week ago about this, it not being a homicide. Sorry, I'm late with that information. There's just so much being put out. Queen has to rest up before she can bring the information. But anywho, week before that, you said it was a homicide. So you all need to decide whichsoever it is. So was she dismembered or not? Is it a fact that the body was so badly decomposed you can't tell? Then you all say she's not pregnant. So then that means she had to be, let's say if she was dismembered, she was cut below her vagina. Unless you can do tests on some type of bones up here, rib cage, bone marrow, to show that she wasn't with child. Help me understand. I'm not a doctor, but I'm trying to understand. If they tested her, I'm assuming the person cut her below her private parts. So which is it? She was dismembered or not? What will the toxicology reports reveal? Drug use, drug overdose, everybody's throwing that out there. I'm not saying the little girl used drugs. I'm not even saying somebody gave her drugs. But we know that that's what they're going to look for in the toxicology reports. If there was hair attached to the scalp, you can test the hair because your hair will be tested even if you're alive to see if you have been using drugs. Narcotics can show in your hair strands, the root of your hair. They can see if you've been using drugs. So, ex-boyfriend speaking, she didn't have a good home life. She joked about running away. He didn't think she was serious. She ran away. We've got this Josh Marshall denying shit about an email. He's on TikTok and social media giving his 2 cents when he really should not be commenting at all, crying he has a family, kid, never lived there. So who's Tesla? was that driving out of the drive and the person had a mask on. Don't touch on all of that. He's denying that too. I don't know nothing about it. Oh, that belongs to other management. Well, how many managers do this guy have? Because for him to be up and coming, he's living in a $20,000 rent house that's worth $4 million that ain't his name, wasn't rented by him. Somebody's gonna say, you're up and coming, you're trying to make your money, you're getting cahoots with different labels and companies to make money. He's been doused by Hollister and Crocs. They were united as a company. So that's off the table. So you're just starting to make money. So what sense would it be to start making money, doing tours, to be hiring a bunch of people, paying a lot of rent somewhere, buying up fancy cars, jewelry? You understand what I'm saying? So I'm trying to figure out how this guy has more than one manager. Because this is what Josh is putting out here. I don't got no knowledge of what was going on at that house. So you are admitting that you rented the house by this Mr. Or Mrs. Malott. You did rent the house, which I find very interesting as well, okay? You rented this house because if you have $20,000, listen to me carefully. If you have $20,000 to rent anything, why aren't you buying a house, not rent? I'm not going to give you $20,000 a month and I don't own it. So I would be going to the bank to secure a loan to pay $20,000 towards a mortgage, not to rent somebody else's house, not to give to my manager to pay somebody else for their damn house. See, I'm woke. All this stuff coming out about this manager, David, Celeste, now her family, now an ex-boyfriend, private eye, emails. It's always the same BS. Nobody knows anything. Everything is he said, she said. Then you got the people in the background watching and hearing all this garbage, and they're putting their 2 cents in. Oh, I think this happened, this went on, da-da-da-da-da. Yes, it makes for a bad situation. It makes for a very bad situation because she was a child. Hello, trio. She was a child. And no matter if she was a runaway, why she was running away, she still was a child. And it's the one thing you always have to consider pertaining to children. She was a child. She was not 15 years old. Stop saying she's 15. She's not 15. She was not 15 years old when you pulled her remains out of that Tesla. So stop saying that. I'm sick of hearing that. You don't know how old she was because you don't even know when she was last seen allegedly. Mama, daddy, police. So you can't say she was 13, she was 14, she was 15. And I'm not going to say she was 15. And you're never going to see a video where I put Celeste Rivas Hernandez 15 years of age. I'm never going to put it up there. I ain't never. Because her birthday came a day before she was found. So, you see where I'm going with that? Her birthday was on the 7th. She was found allegedly the 8th. They say the remains were badly decomposed. As I said, unless this little girl knew magic, she was not 15. And I'm not even going to say she was 14 because we have differences of opinions of when she was last seen. First, it was she was missing a whole year and a half. Now, a neighbor has brought forward a video saying, oh, here she is right here outside arguing in September. And we're now October. Today's the 1st. So 1 year. She was seen in her house. So now you got to ask the question, what is really going on with this family? Are we going to hear when she got tired of David, she went back home? When David got tired of her, he sent her back home. Stay woke. Because you have lied to the public saying, we haven't seen or heard from her in a whole year and a half. That is what you told the public. You have yet to speak to the public, mommy, daddy. Why not? You have a whole child missing what you put out to the universe, flyers, posters, but now we're getting contradictory information of a CCTV footage video of her at your house in September. Then we've got allegedly you sending emails to Josh that you know about the relationship between she and David. You wanted it to stop, I'm assuming, and you wanted her to be sent back home. This is where you fucked up. Drum roll. If this email can be verified by law officials, FBI, that someone from her house, someone that knew her, sent an email to Josh Marshall last year or any time thereafter, stating they know of a relationship between she and David. I know she's at his home. She's in his vicinity, his peripheral. You have a serious fucking problem because now you're verifying an child abuse case via an email. So that leaves the obvious. Number one, why didn't you go get your child? Number two, why didn't you call the police to say, I know where my child can be found? My child is a child and she's in the company of an adult. And this has been going on for this such and such time. And why hasn't there been an arrest of David Burke? Checkmate. I'm welcome. Okay. Let me get this fool out my chat. There's no such thing as a legend when you are a pedophile. A legend is far removed. And a legend, honey, get on with all that. You're talking about a person that talks about death and gloom and doom and likes playing with little children. So if you consider that a legend, then be my guest. But you ain't getting ready to put that shit in my chat. So move along. Checkmate. As I was so rudely interrupted by another pedophile, I said that. Somebody knows something. Because you can't be sending emails to somebody to say, hey, I know my child is with your client. Then that means you have knowledge that she's in the company of an adult. So why did you not go get your child? Why didn't you send the police to get your child? And we got information that police picked her up in Hollywood. What did I ask you all earlier? I said, picked her up from where? In a park, candy shop, the movie theater, the mall? Don't you find that strange? That's been left out. This is why I always tell you to pay attention to the details. You picked her up in Hollywood and took her back to her family. Okay, but there's something missing from that. You picked her up from where? Exactly. Because if the police picked her up from David's house or in David's peripheral, a cafe, a restaurant, you were supposed to take her in, have her checked out, ding, ding, ding. Did you do that? Because I ain't heard that. To prove sexual misconduct of a child molestation, checkmate. And you're supposed to take him in for questioning and then put them little handcuffs on him and tell him you are sitting here in the custody of a missing person. What is it that y'all missing from this? Because this all is bullshit, what LAPD is putting out, and I'm getting ready to correct it. I'm getting ready to correct it. I'm getting ready to correct David. I'm getting ready to correct Josh. I'm getting ready to correct her parents. I'm correcting everybody that failed her. And for a motherfucker that come in here talking about who's disrespectful, she's a child. What's disrespectful is playing hopscotch with a baby, online and offline. Checkmate. Going to pick up a child for nefarious reasons. That's disrespectful. Having sex with a child is disrespectful. Going on a live stream with a child and telling the world that you media trained her, that's disrespectful. You don't want none of Queen, baby. I'm the realest on the block and I puss it down. And anybody aiding David You a pedophile holder. Did you hear what I said? You're a pedophile holder. See, this is what's wrong with the world. People are always aiding foolishness. How the fuck you gonna aid somebody having sex with a kid? And they believe he was luring her and talking to her at the age of 11 or 12. Can you not count? It's 2025. That's that. And let me help you find your way out of here too. Some of you need to get you something to do. This live stream is for adults with common sense and empathy. You're not coming in here aiding no pedophile. I'm not going to let your comments stand. So go find you some HGTV to watch. Or go find you some animation. This is the wrong channel for you. This is serious business. We're talking about child molestation. We're talking about failure to report child molestation. And it looks like to me, too many people knew he was in the company of a child. And I get it. It is not our job to save the world. But if you see nefarious business between an adult and a child, you should call it in. And what did I tell you? Bypass DHS. Bypass that 800 number. Now I'm calling the police. Ring, ring, ring. Yes, I see a child in the company of a man. She's been staying with him. I do believe they're having sex. She's a runaway. She is underage. Click. You give the location, government name. You done. This story should have been over with. This story should have been over with. Because somebody knew where she was. And I have a problem, man. Stay woke, everybody. So how the hell are we here today talking about toxicology reports? Don't know what is what pertaining to the remains of a child. And why were you men wearing masks a week ago when David's house was being loaded up? Help me understand that. Hello, beauty, thank you. When the movers were moving David's belongings or whomever belongings out of that home, they showed a picture of a mover. He didn't have a mask on, but there were some other men that had masks on, and one was inside of a red Tesla with a mask on. Why you had that mask on? Let me guess, that was one of the other managers. David has another manager. He has a red Tesla. Or did somebody send somebody to get in that Tesla and told him to put a mask on? One guy standing out like he guarding something with a mask on. Why you gotta hide your face? If you're security, why you gotta hide? Don't you want your face shown so next time somebody might need some work, they can point to that guy and say, oh, he looks like this. I know that guy. He was working with David. I'm just saying. See, you wear a mask because you have something to conceal. And that's the problem with this story. Too many people already are involved, in my opinion, having knowledge of pedophilia. And nothing was done. Because had something been done, I wouldn't be making this video. A little girl wouldn't be ID'd dead inside of a Tesla trunk. There wouldn't be talk about a 20-year-old grooming a child or any other children. We wouldn't be talking about all this macabre bullshit he puts out as content. David is tainted, as I have said in my videos and my shorts. There is something visibly wrong with this 20-year-old black male. Do I believe he's homosexual? I believe so. You even can listen to this other young man who has a YouTube channel, Strategic Eyes. He has made the claim, so he's probably good at reading people. I already called it weeks ago. I've been told you, this boy's feminine. If you look at some of his photos, he looks feminine. Now, this Strategic Eyes believes that he's jealous of Celeste. Very interesting theory. He wanted to be her. Kind of like that Silence of the Lambs nonsense. Kidnapping a woman to cut her up, to use her skin to make himself a whole body suit. Maybe, I don't know. But I do detect some femininity with David. I think he's confused about his sexuality. He might be jealous of that girl, past tense. I want to be youthful, pretty, dark hair. I find it interesting he keeps putting Latinas in his videos, which is telling me he has a preference for Hispanic women. Come on with it, Queen. Why is that? And I get it, everyone is entitled to his or her preference or what they are attracted to. But this is macabre because a Latina was found half inside of a trunk. You got Latinas in your videos. You're making merchandise with bloody prints on the clothes, the shirts. All your songs is being hurt, pain. Animated videos with you having a doppelganger, fighting with swords and knives and guns and shit. I've watched 3 videos with violence in it. Why? Because you are violent. And if you have done what I think you have done, you finally decided to put the fantasy to print. And I think that is why we're here today. He decided he wanted to go all out. I want to see what it's like. I don't want to keep talking about it. I don't want to keep singing about it. I don't want to keep writing about it. I want to go find me a victim and put it to print. And I won't doubt he's deliberately lured that child into his fold to unalive her, to taste blood, because he talks about it too much. He doesn't know how to write a song about pain, love, and then put a video with it of people just walking around on the beach, walking around their house, crying. It's got to be some all-out war because somebody's heart is broken. That shit ain't normal. And then he's talking about he been writing songs all his life on the internet, all his life. My life is the internet because somebody didn't raise David. Somebody let this TV screen, this monitor, raise him, which is dangerous. And I got a feeling there's something wrong with his parents. You thought homeschooling him was going to help. Why? Because y'all lived in New York. It was bad in New York, dangerous in New York. We'll move to Texas. We'll homeschool him. He won't be subjected to people riding around, shooting out of cars and running around with AKs, people raping people and kidnapping folks. But you build a monster. That's exactly what I believe. You build this monster. You created this monster. And some experts will say pedophiles or let's say killers are not born, they're made. So they come from their environment, this dirty creature. I got a feeling it's the same for David. Somewhere in his short window of life, he was subjected to violence, pornography, child molestation, child abuse, negativity. Because to have this thought process at 20, you had this thought process before 20. And that is scary as hell. That is very, very scary. He's been thinking this way a mighty long time. And if he was writing lyrics at, let's say, 14, similar to what we have seen, then that means somebody was doing something to this boy. And I won't doubt David probably was molested himself. So we need to be talking to his mother and father, who was in his peripheral in New York when he was coming up, who was raising him, babysitting him. What do his parents do for a living? I did get a description of his father, some type of professional job he was doing. I don't really care about fancy titles. That don't mean nothing to me because that don't got nothing to do with it. All he's taught is how to hurt and harm people. Lash people when you don't get your damn way. Ain't nobody paying me no attention. Ain't nobody loving me the way I want to be loved. So I'm going to choke you out, strangle you, wrap you in plastic, throw you in a trunk. I'm going to cut off your arm. Oh, did y'all miss that? The video where the girlfriend's whispering in his ear at the bar. He runs out and starts slashing the world up. Then he slashes her arm off. That's in a video. And lo and behold, ding, 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 ding. We got a whole kid in a trunk with his name registered on the car. And we're supposed to just forget all about that. You want us to forget what we've seen in videos, his own lyrics, versus this child in a trunk. Him saying on a live stream, he's media trained her. She says, no, you did not. Then he says, yeah, that's controversial. Then she replies, it's only controversial if you bleep kids. You can read between that. Either fuck or rape. Take your pick. Excuse my language. Ain't no way in the world I'm going to be 54 years of age and think he didn't do that to that little girl. Sexually assaulted her, groomed her, used her, and then unalived her. Ain't nobody set him up. Because David is meticulous. He knows what he's been doing to Celeste, and God knows probably some other children. There's no way he would allow anyone to be around her alone. Stay woke now. No way he would have allowed anyone to be around her alone. To assault her, to dismember her, or unalive her first, dismember her, and put her in his own damn car. You got to prove when he was on tour, when he came home. He's not riding on a Greyhound bus. He was not, I don't believe, even riding on a tour bus. So you can't say when he was in town and out of town. See, that's a fool's thinking. Well, he was on tour these days. You don't know what he was doing. That's just some shit on paper. If you're flying in and out, you can be back home within a few hours on a jet. A tour bus would take longer, of course, getting to and fro. But he's pictured in front of a jet. So what makes you think he's riding on a tour bus when he's doing tours? You got to have proof of that. First of all, you don't know how long she's been in that trunk. So worrying about it and when he could have done it, that don't mean nothing either. That don't mean nothing either. Because we don't even know when she was last in his company. So as I said, she's not 15 years of age. We don't know if he murdered a 14-year-old, a 13-year-old. Have to wait on the toxicology report, something to say this child died 2 weeks before discovery, 4 weeks before discovery, 6 months before discovery, 1 year before discovery. That's what we have to wait on. What's important? When she was unalived, if she was unalived, if she was actually dismembered, when did this take place? Who's involved of nefarious dealings with this child and her remains? When did she get in the Tesla? Who put her in the Tesla? What will the Tesla reveal? Were the cameras working? Were they dismantled? So you got to ask all those questions. Did someone turn the Tesla cameras off from a phone, iPhone, and then she was put into the Tesla? Why was the Tesla moving up and down the street? That's been told. I don't think the neighbors would lie about that. Oh, it was parked here, then it was parked over here. That shows some guilty SHIT right there. The car is just miraculously jumping in and out of parking spaces on a public street. Why? So let me say this and I'm going to check out of here. No way in my right mind am I going to believe a car thief / murderer is going to come back to the scene or near the scene if we're to believe she was murdered inside of this house, which that don't make no sense either. You're now a car thief, murderer, burglar, and you're going to put the body in a trunk around the corner from the alleged crime scene or the house of David to set him up, and then you're going to keep coming back to move the car. And then we don't even know how many times the car was allegedly moved up and down this street. Make it make sense, because it doesn't make sense to say he was set up. Well, then how did somebody get his car? How did they get the car card? Because there was a card thrown near the gutter outside of the car. Will they be able to retrieve fingerprints from the card? Hope so. Fingerprints off the car, inside the car. Any type of residue in the car pertaining to a homicide. Any type of fingerprints belonging to Celeste to show she had been in that car. Stay woke. Fingerprints of the victim inside of the mansion. Of course. Do you know how much cleaning you would have to do inside of a big house to wipe down fingerprints of a victim? You got to sit here and think about everything she could have possibly touched. Glassware, countertops, doorknobs, wall, bathroom, the handle on the toilet, everything. Shower. You know they've gone through the drains, shower drains, pull up hair. She had to take a shower. She had to wash her hair. Stay woke. I'm woke. The little things you don't even think about to link her to this house, link her to that Tesla. Was she in the other Tesla? Since I don't know who was in his house. I'm not about to say who was going in and out of his house. I don't know him. I'm not about to say who was living in his house. But one thing I'm going to say, he ain't had no lot of people around that girl alone. He ain't left that girl alone with some strangers unless he's into some more kinky type of behavior, such as sharing. Now, let's flip the script since people want to throw out all these different theories. Was he involved in some type of underground group that deals with pedophilia? Was he sharing her with other guys? Would she be the type of female to do it to please David? We're going to throw all that filth out there. I'm not agreeing with that theory, but I'm going to throw it out anyway. Was he sharing her with some of his cohorts, friends? Did something go wrong? He got jealous. They got jealous. Did he ever leave her alone in the company for her to be unalive somewhere or in his house? And once again, where would you unalive her to dismember her if we're going to go with the theory she was dismembered? Let's say she was dismembered, then where did it happen? Because you're going to have to find somewhere quiet, no interruptions to cut up a body. Either by a saw, electric saw. Stay woke. You're going to have to clean up vigorously to not leave anything behind of this child. Honey, that's a lot of work. Now you got to get rid of the tools. What'd you do with the tools? I don't think nobody hears me. What did you do with the tools? Pay attention. And if she was dismembered, you had to get rid of the tools. You had to clean up. You had to wrap her up. You had to take her out and put her into whatever you put her in, plastic bag, container, whatever. But you would then have to dismember the other body parts. Somewhere. So was she dismembered or not? Because this is where I'm confused with the dismemberment issue. Who would put the body in their own car, half of a body, and then take the other body parts and discard them somewhere else? And where is this other place? Do they have an idea, or they're now banking on the body was just badly decomposed and the bones turned to dust? Well, you know, Queen will Google any given subject. And my understanding is that it takes a long time for the body to completely break down to where it's nothing. Nothing. It takes years for bones to become dust. And I think you know this from all these unsolved homicides, crimes, where bones were found and the person had been missing for years. Not 1 year, not 2, not 5, but many. Many. And that's where this is a problem. So LAPD, which is it? You do not have bones to the lower half of this girl's body. Do you or don't you? Because if you don't have bones of her lower half, then that means she's been dead a long, long time. Naturally, you'll preserve better in dirt. The more you dig, the cooler it's going to be to preserve the remains. The Tesla, I guess, would not be considered the same, even in a bag/tote. Because one, the tote is plastic and the bag is plastic. And then there's heat beaming down on the front of the car, which is causing this person to break down. But the car is dark. The trunk is dark. So I'm still trying to wrap my head around no bones of the lower half of this girl's body. Whether it was hot outside or not, she still was concealed inside of a vehicle, a trunk, dark trunk, plastic bag. One article said she's also in a tote. Make it make sense. Let's say she's been dead a year and a half. Could a body dissolve itself down that quickly to where there are no bones left lower half? Or arms as well. But then that don't make no sense because you ID'd her remains and you also found the shush tattoo on her finger. So, not to be macabre, was there only one finger in this bag, or was it a whole hand in the bag? Did you find 2 sets of hands in the bag? I like a description. That way, I don't have to assume anything. And I don't have to listen to other people give their theories and, assumptions. I wish they had told us the best description they could of what they found in that trunk. There was hair attached to the skull, no hair, partial hair. See where I'm going? Full skull, no flesh, some flesh. Just describe it. That way, people are not assuming, because people are going to assume possibly her whole hand was found because of the finger situation and the shush. But for all I know, they could have just cut a finger off, threw it in there with her, and then got rid of her other finger. See, I don't know. And I didn't want to get, but it's the only way people can understand what they found in the bag. Was she in the bag with both arms and hands attached? Or just one finger, two fingers, however many? Cut from below the belly button, under the breast, what are we saying? Because when I think of torso, I'm thinking from the neck, I don't know, to the stomach. But then you say she wasn't pregnant, so then I have to assume if she was dismembered, she was cut below the private parts. Just asking. What's the truth to what happened to Celeste Rivas Hernandez? How old was she when she made her way into that trunk? Was it an accident, covered up, then discarded, deliberate homicide, crime of passion, a sexual assault where she fought, then they hit her, struck her, strangled her, suffocated her, dismembered her, put her in the trunk? What actually happened to this kid? How old was she? And who knew she was in the company of a grown man and did nothing? Did her parents know she was seeing a grown man? Did they know also he was a singer? Didn't care? Because in my opinion, I felt like they didn't care. And that's my opinion. Because there's no way I'm going to allow my child to go in and out of my house for a whole year and a half and not put my foot down. That's not going to happen. You're not going to come in and out of my house, miss school. Some states, cities will bring charges against you for allowing your child. So see, that's another question people have asked. What about the truancy laws? What truancy laws do they have in California? Did anybody send the parents a truancy letter? Ask them to come in. Hey, where's your child? See, we're not hearing any of that. Were they ever arrested for truancy? Do they arrest parents in California for truancy? Did the kids go back and tell teachers, other teachers, her parents, oh yeah, we know she's with David? I'd like to know. Because David should have been arrested. If her friends knew she was messing around with this older guy who's a singer, he could have been found and arrested and charged with pedophilia. So this story shouldn't even exist right now. And this is where I have a problem with what the parents really knew and what the parents tolerated from their daughter. They should have put her in juvenile hall, or they should have put her in foster care until she could learn she can't be running away. And had she been in juvenile detention, he would not have had access to her. He would have found another Celeste. And yes, I've heard about this Celeste Herrera. I don't know her role in any of this. I don't know what's really going on, but Celeste Rivas has been identified in that trunk. Not Celeste Herrera or any other Celeste. And yes, I find it interesting that he's possibly been in the company of another Celeste, because we always think, oh, that's an odd name, but obviously not. If he's had contact with another Celeste. Don't know anything about that relationship, friendship, don't know. All I'm on is this girl here who's been identified as Celeste Rivas Hernandez. And I also asked you all, how many times has she ran away from home? Period. Was she running away before she met David? Because that's going to also give us more information into her life. She had problems with either authority or something was going on in her home. Was she being abused in her home, neglected, verbal abuse, child molestation, physical contact, being beat up, pushed around? How many people lived in the house? Other children in the house? Did DHS ever get involved in her life and with other children? See, lots of questions, no answers. I believe there's more to this story pertaining to her family, because that video shows she made it home. So she was not missing the entire 1 year and a half. And if you've got that information out now, somebody put it out for a reason. They're trying to get you to see there's more to this story that's being told by her parents. And I think it's obvious. If there's verification of an email as well, then that means you knew where your child was. You knew she was in the company of a grown damn man, and you did nothing. You allowed your child to be sexually abused by a grown-ass man. You knew all along, and you did nothing. You did nothing. He should have been arrested. David should have been arrested. You can't send an email to somebody's manager saying, hey, I know my child's with your client. We want our child back. She poof, miraculously shows back up. Then that shows somebody read the email. Somebody got her back to that house. That shows proof right there. And if all that can be verified of her walking in that door on that said date, maybe the neighbor will have that on camera, her showing back up at a certain time, coinciding with the said email. There's your proof that they knew exactly where their daughter was, and they allowed her to stay gone, assuming she was in the company of David. And that's a problem for me. And even if she wasn't with David, I still have a problem that you would allow your child to just come back and forth in your house as if she's an adult. And then you look up the next morning, poof, voila, she's gone. Walking out with no book bag, the one video at 7 o'clock in the damn morning, running down the damn street. So you watch your child go out the house without a book bag? Was that her normal time to go catch the bus? See, this girl was failed. Nobody could tell me she wasn't failed. She was. Because now we're getting too many proofs with videos of somebody should have been watching their child. This is bad. She could have been saved. And we will never know because the parents didn't do what they were supposed to do. They didn't do right by their child. Because the first time and she made it back, they should have called DHS or the police and say, I'd like to have her removed from my house. She doesn't want to listen and comply to the rules. I'd like to have her removed. And then you tell your child why you're doing that, and you let them know, I'm the head knocker of this house. And you're not going to be running in and out of here doing God knows what. You can get hurt, you can get trafficked. And that's another thing nobody's thinking about. She could have been human trafficked, prostituted out, running away, running to anybody's house, going to hook up with a guy you don't know anything about. You think because he's a singer, he's writing lyrics, he ain't the type that'll put you out there in a corner or have other men coming in and having their way with you. She took a lot for granted, Celeste. But we still have to remember she was dealing with a child's mindset. You cannot consent to sex at 14, 13, 11, 12, 15. The law says it is RAPE. So she wanted it. She liked it. She wanted to be with him. She's a child. And she's thinking with a child's brain. And it's no different if she was an adult. If she went willingly with David or any other man, she's not expected to be abused and or chopped up and put in a fucking trunk. No one is expecting to be abused, whether they are 12, 14, or 22. That's my commentary. Like, share, subscribe. Drop your comments below this video. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $Big Angie, 129 Cash App. Stickers and chats are always welcome to the live stream. Follow me on the Newsbreak app. Got to put some content over there. I'm a little behind, but I thank you for following this network. Check out my polls. I will try to put up some more polls today. I have an extensive library, and I also have some shorts that I put up earlier before this live stream. What happened to Celeste Rivas Hernandez? Is it homicide? and disposal of a body, accident, disposal of a body, crime of passion, disposal of a body, sexual assault, murder, disposal of a body. What happened to this kid? And will the medical examiner be able to give us answers? Will the police be able to give us answers? Once again, my sincerest condolences and prayers to the Rivas Hernandez family. This is a very bad situation. It's a horrific situation because nobody should be burying their child, ever. And no child deserves to be treated in this manner. And even if you're an adult, you shouldn't be treated in this manner. Thank you for your time. You have been listening to the Vault XL. And my movie of the week is Boo, 2018 release. Check it out. You know it's Halloween, so I will be sharing scary, spooky content for 1 month for the Halloween season.